I believe in magic. And I believe every single one of us has magic inside us. We just don't know it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are more than welcome to this, another episode of the Coffee at 11 show, brought to you by Wigwam and supported by the Limerick Post newspaper, keeping Limerick posted, #Limerick and proud. It's my great privilege to be here in front of a live audience to welcome my very special guest today. It's Johann Callaghan. Johann, just pop in, say hello, cheers us with your coffee mug, and then allow me to introduce you.
Good morning, everybody.
Wonderful to have you here. Wonderful to have you here, Johann. So sit back just for a moment, please, Johann. I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about you, then we'll bring you in for the chat. Obviously, name is Johann Callaghan. Her business name is Therapeutic Healing. I asked, what does your business do? Johann says, I help inspire, educate, and empower parents to take control of their health and well-being with a better night's sleep and healthy living. Established since 2013, just herself, working in the business at this moment in time. Johann Callaghan is a best-selling author, speaker, sleep science coach, health and wellness coach, and podcaster. She's featured many times in the media, on radio, TV, in newspapers and magazines, and she is an award-winning entrepreneur. She is the creator of the Empowering Sleep Success 12-week live group coaching online program. Her podcast, Empowering Family Health, is a very successful show helping to empower parents and families all over the globe. Johann helps to educate, inspire, and empower people to take control of their lives with better sleep and living a healthier lifestyle. And Johann believes that everything is better with a good night's sleep. I think we'd all agree on that one. And then here's something I asked, something that nobody knows about you, and Johann has given us 3 to consider. First one, I did 3 tandem parachute jumps from 12,000 feet. Go you. The second one, I hated gossiping when I was younger. I got that from my dad. And the third one, wait till you hear this, ladies and gentlemen. I went to a boarding school to finish my leaving cert. I went into labor the day I finished my last exam. Wow. Johann, my friend, we've known each other for some time, and it's a great pleasure to have you here in the cafe. Looking forward to having the chat with you. So, as we say to all of our guests, Johann, we can and we will Google you after this straight away, right? The links are going to be put in, so there's no escaping the cafe now. But here's
I'm exposed now.
Exposed now. But here's the challenge, right? Challenge of that is we can Google you as you are now. And you've been invited here into the cafe to have a chat. And we'd love to meet little Johann, if you don't mind. Would you oblige and take us all the way back? Thank you.
Yeah, little Johann. So I grew up in Coolock. I think you know where that is, Colm. Probably down the road from where you used to live, actually. It was called Priorswood at the time, Priorswood Estate, and it was renamed then to Clonshock, where I lived. So I'm the eldest in my family. I've 5 other brothers and sisters, and I'm the eldest, as I say. We grew up, I was born in the 70s, and I remember, God, you know, life was very difficult as a young child living in Priorswood and Clonshock. My father, he was a car mechanic, and he also drank quite an awful lot. And my mother really had her hands full with all the kids. I always remember growing up, my mother was always pregnant. She always just seemed to be pregnant. And my mother loved being pregnant. That was the best time of her life. She always said she loved being pregnant. And my mother, you know, my mother was probably one of the most, I really admire her. There's a long story that I have about my mother. I did hate my mother, and I will tell you about that. I really hated my mother at times, you know, I really resented her. But today, just to be clear, I love my mother very much. We have a fantastic relationship, and I confide in her, and she's my best friend. But when we were growing up, you know, we had our troubled times, as we say. My father drank quite an awful lot, and I was the eldest child. And as the kids came in, I could see my mother was more and more struggling, you know, with all the kids. And my father was out drinking all the time, and he spent a lot of money on the drink. Now, to be clear, my father, I love my father. He's dead now. He died a year after I got married. But I found a lot of respect in him. I forgave him for a lot of stuff. Just before I get into the story, you know, he was a lovely, lovely, caring person. As I say in the intro there, he taught me about gossiping. It was one thing he always hated. He hated people who gossiped. But he had an illness, and that's what it was. He had an illness, and I can really get that now. I can really see that now. But as I was growing up, more and more kids came along and we didn't have much money. And whenever my dad had money, he used it to go down for his drink, and my mother used to have to find money from somewhere to get the next day's dinner, if you like, and it was really a struggle for my mother, and what she went through was just unbelievable. I remember when I was in school, I loved school, but I remember there was a stage where I started to really dislike my mother and really resent my mother, because my father used to come in at night and, he'd want to talk to everybody. It was like it was 1 o'clock in the day and it would be 2 o'clock in the morning and I'd stand outside your bedroom door and he'd be talking away to you. And this was one of my early experiences of not getting sleep. Okay. And he'd just be talking about shite. A lot at the time, he just wants someone to hear him, and but then there were times when there was violent times as well, there was when he got really annoyed and he couldn't understand why we didn't give him a lot of time, because everyone was getting fed up with him, as we were growing older and what have you. But there was one stage where I could see that this was not normal, this was not acceptable, and it was having an impact. And I remember one of my younger brothers, he used to keep him up till all hours of the night talking. My dad loved talking. And I remember more times coming down 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, my younger son sitting on the stairs and my dad talking away. And my mum would probably be pregnant, and she'd be tired. And I used to rescue my brother from this, and there was lots of stories like that. And then there were violent times. And there were times when I remember my father wanted to commit suicide. 3 times he attempted it. My mother went through an awful lot. I couldn't understand why my mother kept him in the house, because he was, all this trouble and all this impact on all my younger siblings. And I really resented my mother for, keeping him in the house and putting up with all of this. It was torture. And fast forward in a few years, I remember I started working. And I remember I was the only person in the house that was working. My nanny was living with us at the time as well. My nanny wasn't very well. My mum looked after her. She had dementia. So there was all these kids, her own mother with dementia, dealing with my dad. And at one point, my mother wanted to go to England, take off and leave us all because she couldn't handle it anymore. It was just way too much. There was a lot that happened in between. One of the biggest things I think some of you may know, through this whole period where I hated my mother, I really felt abandoned. I really felt I was alone, and every child needs to feel love. They need to feel love. That's their security blanket. They really need to feel love and accepted and seen and heard and all of this. And I just felt abandoned by my father. My father didn't know who I was, really, none of us. And I felt abandoned by my mother. So I was growing up in my teenage years. I started to be a bit of a rebel. I started mitching off school. I just didn't care about anything. I was crying out for love. I was crying out for, it's such, loneliness is such a painful thing. And when you're a child, it's one of the things that you absolutely need. And I just did not have that. And I remember when I was 16, it was during the summer, and I remember I found this bunch of people that were, hanging around, and I fell into this crowd. It was a bad crowd, but I felt accepted and I was taken in. And there was one man there who I really liked, and I started having a relationship with him. And it was only about a month or 2 months into that relationship where he started treating me really badly, actually. And there was one point where he raped me. I was 16, and he physically hurt me as well. And I knew I was pregnant, let's put it that way, because I knew I was pregnant. I knew I was terrified. I went home that day, and I remember I didn't know I needed to go to a doctor to get the pill or something like that. I knew about the pill, the morning after pill it's called. And but I couldn't go to the doctor because I knew I was only 16. The doctor would have to tell my mother, and I didn't know how you go about going to a doctor on your own, And So I became pregnant. This man stalked me for many months afterwards. I was terrified to go outside of the house. My mother knew there was something really strange up because I was literally living in my bedroom because I didn't want to be in any other part of the house because my mother and father were there. My father smoked. I hated cigarettes. I was practically living in my bedroom. And then I was afraid to go to school because where I used to get the bus to school, and he used to be at the second bus stop. And if he seen me getting on the bus, he'd get on the next bus or the next at the next bus stop. He'd get on the same bus and he'd literally sit opposite me. I used to sit beside the driver, and I'm not joking you, but I was soaked with the sweat, with the fear. And I didn't know whether to get off at my stop at the school or whether to stay on the bus. I can't even explain it. I was petrified, absolutely terrorized, petrified, because there was about another 5-minute walk to the school after I got off the bus stop, and he could have done anything to me between then and when I got into the school. So that's the stage where I stopped going to school then. And I told one or two of my friends in the class, and I don't know, but the head nun got word. I think one of the teachers knew by the look at me because I had morning sickness every second day. And in my house, we only had one bathroom. And I always remember I used to bring a load of towels into my bedroom, and I used to get sick into the towels because there was always somebody in the bathroom, you know. And I know that sounds horrible, but that's what I used to do, and I used to hide it. But I used to go into school after this, you know, and I was like, I mean, anyone who's been pregnant knows, you know, when you're after having like the first couple of months, you're just drained, like you're exhausted. And here's me going into school. But the teachers copped on, and they said it to the head nun, and because they anticipated this. So I was missing out of school for a good few weeks afterwards. And then the head nun contacted my mother. And I was in my leaving cert year, and the mini mock exams were starting in, what was it, February, March or something. And I was out of school for a long time at this point. So the head nun came up to my mother up to the house and had a conversation. My mother only found out I was pregnant, by the way, when I was 5 months pregnant. She only found out officially from the doctor. And that was in the end of January. So the head nun came up to my house in the February. They arranged for me to go back to school and sit my mini mock exams, which I did. And it was so funny because my mom was great at sewing, and she got my skirt and she expanded my skirt, and she had the Velcro on it, you know, and I used to use, and I had a big baggy jumper, and I'm so small and slight, I wasn't really shown that much, so nobody really noticed. And there was 2 people in the class that knew, so that was it. There was only 2 people. So I sat my exams, passed them with flying honours and all of that. And as soon as I finished my mock exams, I left the school because I started to really show and I couldn't. So they arranged for me to go into a boarding school. And it was a place in Dunboyne. Now, it's closed down now many years, but it's like a nun's convent on one side, and then there was like a home for pregnant young teenage girls on the other side. And they actually had a school in this place. So I used to go to school there every morning. There was a whole routine, a daily routine in this place. And I sat my leaving cert exam there. And I remember on the Tuesday morning, my last exam was on the Friday, but I remember on the Tuesday morning, the head dropped. So ladies, you'll understand this. I don't know if the men will, but the head dropped. And I was sitting my maths exam that morning, and I was also sitting my higher paper in biology. And I remember I was in such pain that day, and all I could do was write my name on the piece of paper. I could not write anything else. I failed the 2 of those papers, and I passed them with honours. I passed the honours paper in the biology, and I got an honour in that in the mocks. But all I did was wrote my name on the piece. I was in such pain. And then on the Friday when I finished my last exam, I was allowed home every second weekend. I was allowed to go home. So I used to get the bus. Nobody drove in my family, so I used to get the bus home. And I remember I started getting these pains when I was getting on the bus going home, and I had to get the bus into the city centre and then back out to Clonshaugh. And all over that weekend I was in phantom labour. And then on the Monday night then I had my beautiful baby boy Daniel.
Joanne,
And,
Joanne. take a breath.
Not a lot, isn't it?
Invariably, I have an opportunity and it feels right to stop a guest sooner than I've stopped you today. But you led us through a bit of a horror story, but there's love in there too. And I just felt it was appropriate that we would get to the birth of your son. So thank you for bringing us there. Can I just touch back on a few things, if you wouldn't mind?
Sure. Yeah, work away.
First of all, I've known your story in broad strokes. I didn't know any of the detail that you shared with us here today. I'm quite sure most of the people here today didn't know any of it. So thank you for sharing. And as Shelley said at the start, this is going to go out worldwide. We've no idea who it will reach, but please God, it'll reach whoever it needs to reach. That's the objective. And it's made richer by people like you who come in and are completely open and vulnerable. So thank you for that, because somebody out there is going through what you have been through.
Absolutely.
And maybe they can look at this powerful woman who's got her act together now and say there's hope. So we thank you for that. A couple of things, if you don't mind. As it happens, I was in Priorswood the other day. I'm my family live in Tonleague Road.
Yes.
Still, and I spent a couple of nights there during the week. And so our business is school lunches, and we supply the school in Priorswood, and we supply. Yeah.
So where I went to that school in Priorswood. Yeah, that was gas.
I was there the other day, and Mick Kennedy is the principal. He's retiring. Is that the same school or?
No, there was Mr. Finn when I was in the school, and Mr. Daly then in the senior school.
All right. Anyway, the times have changed.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of things that you just raised with me that came to mind. First of all, you spoke about the times that you hated your mother and the times that you loved her and you felt abandoned by her, and then you felt loved by her. It seems that she did the best with what she could, given the circumstances. You felt abandoned by your dad, yet you loved him as well.
Afterwards.
Afterwards. Rescuing your little brother on the stairs there. I mean, you painted just a picture for us all you brought us into your world, and we're terribly sorry that you had to go through that. You said, I just wanted someone, you said about your dad, you said he just wanted someone to hear him.
Yeah.
There was a forgiveness in what you said there. That's all he wanted, was somebody to listen to and hear him. And you survived it. Really sorry to hear that you had to go through what you went through. As you said, every child is screaming out against loneliness, and you found yourself in bad company. And then what happened to you in that bad company was unconscionable. That picture that you spoke about, getting on the bus, and this guy could see you getting on the bus, and if he saw you getting on, he'd get on and sit opposite you. I mean, that's pure torture.
Yeah.
So sorry that you had to go through it. But you did. That Tuesday in the Leaving Cert, where you couldn't only write your name, and the Friday when you finished, you had to get the bus back into the city from Dunboyne and then out to Clonshaugh. Heavy stuff. And then was it the following Tuesday your son was born?
The Monday night. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday morning. Yeah. Monday night, Tuesday morning. Yeah. Gorgeous.
Absolutely. And how old now?
He is 30. Janie Mack, you have me there now. I think he's 31, 32. I can't do the maths. He's an adult. He's married.
Her age there, right there and then, ladies and gentlemen, right? Married and all, congratulations.
Married. He's a child, so I'm a granny.
Hey, happy days. Glamorous granny. Fantastic. Yeah. And how are you and him?
Great. Oh my God, absolutely great. He was living in China for a number of years. He's recently back there just a few months. So it's great. He was living with me for about 6 months. He has his own place there now. So yeah, it's great. It's great to have him here. I was blessed when he was born in 2019, September 2019, and my son and his wife brought me over to China to visit my grandson. So literally before all this madness started happening, I got to go to China for 4 nights. So it was a flying visit. And it was my second time being in China. I went to China a number of years ago with my daughter. My daughter now, she's 10 now, but she was 6 at the time when I brought her to China for 2 weeks. So yeah, I've been to China a couple of times now. So.
And had they met? Had they met your son and your daughter prior to that, prior to China?
Have who met? Leah?
Yes, no, had your son and your daughter met prior to that? Like he was in China, had they met before she traveled to China?
Yes, yes, yes. He was here. He's been back and forth a number of times. Yeah.
Okay.
He
Great.
really missed her. So that's why that's one of the reasons why he wanted to come home. Yeah. But
Fabulous.
she's grown up, they just grow so fast.
And how old is she now?
She's 10. She's 10. She's practically a teenager, actually. She's asking a lot of questions. Yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous,
Yeah.
fabulous. Well, thank you for sharing that. So you got through that, and then what happened? I mean, as I said at the start, we can see you now, and we see this woman who's would appear to be in charge of what's going on in your life, and healthy and happy is how you present. I hope that's the case.
Yes.
And
sure.
so what happened just after your son was born?
Well, you know what? Everything that happens is a lesson, isn't it? And I look at it like as what happened, not what happened to me, because that's kind of a victim mentality, but what happened, and then there's always something to learn, but what happened afterwards. So I came home, I lived with my mother. My mother thought it would be a good idea. I was very independent, Colm, so independent. And my mother thought it'd be a good idea if I went to live somewhere on my own. And this was suggested. I worked very closely with a youth counsellor. I'm going to name him because he's just a legend. John Hardy. He used to work in the tech in beside Northside Shopping Centre, and that man is just he's a walking angel. I think he's dead now, but he was incredible. I've done an awful lot of work with him. But he suggested to my mother that because I was so independent, that it might be a good idea for me to go and live on my own. And there was a place they had arranged, and it was with the nuns somewhere. And I went, no, you're grand. And I said, no, if I'm going to live somewhere on my own, I'll be somewhere on my own. But time progressed, and a few years went by. And I remember I started working, it was on my 18th birthday. And I always remember, Colm, when I started working there, your man said to me, I won't name the place, but he said to me, oh, we really like you. I've been for 2 interviews and they're going to progress me up to do an extra job and promote me to do another job or whatever. They really, really liked me. And it was a family run business. And I was talking to the lady and we were talking about birthday parties. And I said something about my son, Daniel. And he was only, a couple of years old at that stage. Well, the next day I was called in and I was fired. I was fired from the job. Yeah. And I couldn't understand it. But I put 2 and 2 together. It's because I was a single parent. That's what I came up with. Because he literally made promises to me the day before, and he was just saying how amazing I was and blah, blah, blah. So that was that. So I was really, that really set me back. Because I was on a mission to get work. And when I got that job, I had all my brothers and all their friends. I had CVs typed up and I went around all the industrial estates and literally put them in the letterboxes of all the jobs, and there was no email back then or anything like that. But I was determined. But when that happened, I just said, you know what, hump that. I'm not going looking for a job. This is what I'm going to be faced with all the time now. And I locked myself back in the bedroom again. And it was my mom's heart was broken. So she contacted the college where I done my college 7th year program or whatever. And anyway, there was a few things put in place. I got another interview somewhere else and I got the job out in Tala. And I was in that job for 17 years and progressed brilliantly. I was amazing at what I did. I went into programming and done all sorts of things, and great fun, loved the job, and made a lot of money in that job. But in the meantime, I had to get out of my family home because my dad was driving me nuts, right? I was working. I was the only one working in the house at the time. I had a young baby. He was in my room with me, my young baby. My mother was fantastic. She took care of Daniel when I went to work. But it got to the stage where I was going into work exhausted every morning because my dad would have us up till all hours of the night. My brothers, I was the only one working, as I say, so some of my brothers would be up late. My mother would be cleaning the kitchen at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? And I often talk about that when it comes to your priorities with sleep, and my mom's priority was to clean the kitchen, not go to bed. And so I was driven to buy my house. So I bought my house, to make a long story short, I bought my house when I was 21. And I was blessed how that happened. I saved every penny that I had. I got a cash advance on my Visa card to pay for the deposit. And I moved into the house. And But unfortunately, I couldn't take Daniel with me because I needed more money for childminding. And so I worked that out in the next following year. I found a childminder, brought him over to live with me then the following year, had to place him in a new school. So that was my new life, living in Clondalkin. And I loved it. And I remember I started going out with somebody as well at the time, and I was terrified of having sex, basically, to be blunt about it, because I was terrified of getting pregnant again. And so there was challenges around that. And I always remember we had an accident, if you like, and I was petrified. Like I was absolute, like I went OTT, and nothing really did happen. But I went to the doctor and I got the morning after pill, and this started a role of me taking the morning after pill every time we had sex. Right, I was terrified, and I could have done terrible damage to my body, but I kept taking. And this morning, you take 2 tablets. It was, I think, every 24 hours or something like that. I remember there was a course, and the doctor actually gave me a whole strip, which he probably shouldn't have done. He gave me a whole strip, so I had a supply of these morning after pills, so I was able to take them whenever I wanted, So I done this a couple of times, taking the morning after pill. It makes you violently sick. And so that was that. And then anyway, we split up for one reason or another. I actually found him sleeping with another woman. And so that was like, that's it now with men. They're all, they're all the same, right? And so I eventually met another man a few years later, and I swore I was never getting married. I swore I was, because men are just trouble. They're just all trouble. They're all the same, right? And you're better off on your own. And so I had this mentality for a long, long time. And I eventually did get married, and then my husband wanted to have a child, and I was like, I'm not a baby making machine. I am not having kids. No. And for 5 years, no way. Then I got a bit of it got a bit troublesome because, you're supposed to get married and have a family and all of this. So we went for counselling, done a lot of counselling. And actually through those years, something that was very deep that my memory or my body suppressed that came up during that time was I was abused when I was 6. There was two young adult men who sexually abused me when I was 6. So it just seemed, and there was a few other instances, we don't have time to go into it all, but there was a few. I am writing a book, Colin, by the way. But I know I'm laughing now, but it wasn't at the time, obviously. But it's just great how I've grown through all of this whole process. When I did have my baby with my husband, I gave up work. I was working in this company for 17 years, as I say. I was getting on great. I was making a lot of money. I was very highly valued in there. And so we decided to have a baby. I got pregnant, which was fantastic. Absolutely. It was in 2007, left the company, moved to a Thai. I wanted everything to be perfect, bought a brand new car. Fantastic. The baby was due in December. And unfortunately, my family weren't around in December because my brother was getting married in Australia. So to make a long story short, anyway, December came, everything was brilliant. I was so excited, had all the clothes and all the room, everything done. But on the day that she was due, she died. Yeah, she died. And there was nothing wrong. It was a car accident. So I had enough. I had enough at that point, I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm not been punished enough here now, And so I was suicidal. I was all that, of course. I had no family around me. They're all in Australia. They're all finding out one by one. And everyone was ringing saying, oh, what's the story? Any child coming? And we had to say, the child, the baby's dead. The baby died. I couldn't get over it, And so anyway, that was devastating enough. You're not supposed to lose your children, and, right on the day she was due. I remember her last kick. Very strong kick. But
no, it's just stall there for a moment. There are very few times in the Coffee at 11 show that I've been lost for words.
Yeah.
And this is one of those. I didn't know it could get any darker, and it got dark when you said you were sexually abused at age 6, because in that story you told us earlier, somehow you managed to skip past that. and then you took us right back, and then things appeared to be on the up. I mean, my heart goes out to you, but my respect is huge for you. You said, I'm very independent, I'm determined, and you are, and that's why you're still here, you know, and that's why your children are blessed to have you as their mother.
Yeah.
Wow. The whole thing about being terrified to have sex with your husband and there was no way you were having family and all this type of stuff. I mean, it's understandable from the vantage point of us all looking back, because you've shared what went on. It must have been a challenge, and then to go through all that, to go through the counselling, to agree, yes, we're going to have a child. You know, I wrote down there, I'm not a baby making machine. I was thinking like classic Johann Callaghan, as I know this woman, like, hang on a second, this is my life, my body. And then you got to the point where you said, okay, let's do this, and to have that happen, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My relationship with God just changed right there. I was like, who is this God? Like, and I was using a lot of curse words, F you, and a lot stronger. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
But Colm, you know,
it's actually unbelievable, you know, it really is, but it's your story. So it's hard to believe, not unbelievable. It's just hard to believe that all this happened to one person. And ladies and gentlemen, she is diminutive. She's a very slight, strong woman. Yeah, you need to meet her, and you will meet her. And actually, she'll be on Oprah yet, right? We're right. So, what could possibly happen next, and why are you still smiling today, Joanne?
Well, you know what? As tragic as all that is, Colm, I look at that as a gift. Now, I don't say that to too many people because they don't get that. They don't get it. My life changed from that point onwards. Took a while. But afterwards, I started hating children. I used to see kids in restaurants and I'd see the parents with their kids and I was like, they don't deserve to have that child. You know, the child would be annoying them or something, you know, and I'd be like commenting and observing, and this went on for a long time and I got really strong. My own brothers and sisters were having kids and I resent them and I didn't want to go visit them and all of this. But I met a spiritual lady a couple of years later. I was crying out for help. Somebody please help me, because I couldn't live with this. It was torture. And I met a spiritual lady and she was very famous. She was well known. She was really good at what she did. She brought me in on a circle. There was supposed to be a load of people there, but I was the only one that was there. And as it transpired, we were on week 4 and she realized, Joanne, like after I shared my story and all of this, she said, Joanne, you're meant to be here on your own, you know. And this is when I got the first insight of the power of the universe, the power of the world. You know, things don't happen by accident. And what I got to learn, what I got to see was how incredibly powerful, like really, how incredibly powerful we all are as human beings. She taught me all about forgiveness. She taught me how to love myself again. She taught me how to sit on my heart. When she said sit on my heart, I was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Sit on your heart. How can you sit on your heart? And she just taught me how to be in my heart. She said, think about Megan. Megan's my daughter who died, Megan. She said, think about Megan. That will raise your vibration. She taught me how to raise my vibration. And when you raise your vibration, you're in a different place. Your thoughts are in a different place. Everything comes from your heart. What happens in your brain comes from your heart, not the other way around. Well, you know, we talk about thoughts and your thoughts transpiring into, you know, your behavior and your actions and then the results. But everything comes from your heart. When your heart is in a higher, and HeartMath Institute talks about this, that the energy of your heart instructs your brain, you know, and how you're thinking. So raise your vibration. Always sit in your heart. Forgive yourself, you know. We're the worst critics. We are our own worst critics of ourselves. And we have to start with ourselves, you know, really seeing ourselves, really seeing who we are, what we want, what's important to us. But all that transpired, that's when I realized, you know, I got intrigued and very curious about health and lifestyle and spirituality. So I started doing courses in massage and reflexology and Reiki. And this is where all the health and wellness stuff started. And then I met Pat Slattery, and Pat Slattery said, you got to write a book. And I was like, what the hell, a book? Me, an author? Are you mad? And I said, actually, and I went to Donna Kennedy's book writing course like you did, Colin. And so she said, what's the biggest pain point? What are people struggling with at the moment? And I said, you know what, when my massage clients are coming in, they're all complaining, been tired and exhausted and no energy, and they can't play with their kids, and the kids are growing up real fast, and I can't think straight, and I'm really moody. So I wrote a book on sleep. And when I wrote the book on sleep, there it is there. A shameful plug. And when I wrote that book, the research that I did and what I found out about sleep, I said, my God, everyone has to know about this. Like, everyone has to know sleep can affect you on every single level, physically, mentally, your relationships, your relationship with your kids. And then I progressed into, I'm really passionate about children. I'm really passionate about children having a childhood, a healthy and happy childhood, because every child deserves that. And you know what? An awful lot of that depends on the environment that they're in, the social environment, their physical environment, and their parents. And parents are trying to do the best job that they can, but they don't always get it right. It doesn't come with a manual. And we're trying to do the best, but we are really setting them up for life. And I think, you know, to create an awareness for parents, that's why I speak to parents. And I speak to parents about being the best that they can be. And you can do that with a good night of sleep. Everything starts with a good night of sleep. Yes, there's loads of other things that you can do to be healthy, eat healthy, exercise, all of this. But you know what? If you're tired, you're not going to be the humor of going out for that walk. If you're tired, you're not going to be the humor of making a healthy meal. You just go for fish and chips, you know? So it really transpires down to a lot of things. When you have a good night of sleep, everything else is better in your life. So that's to bring you up to where I am today, Colin.
Joanne, you know what you've done, right? Roller coaster. Yeah, thank you, James. James Finnegan started the Bull Bus there, and lots of heart emojis lighting up the cafe here. You brought us on this unbelievable roller coaster, right? And you brought us down into the depths with you, right? And you've brought us back up again. And
thank God.
Thank you. But thank you for sharing, for doing that. We met Daniel, we met Megan, God rest her. Mm-hmm. Your 10-year-old, what's her name?
Leah.
How's she doing?
Amazing. And you know something? After I named her Leah, I realized that the word heal is in her name. Isn't that incredible?
There you go. I love it. You're one of the most amazing women that I've met. For being able to look at stuff, very difficult stuff, and see a blessing in it. Incredibly resilient. How's life looking for you heading into the future?
Well, amazing. I've a lot of opportunities. I started doing my podcast, having great fun with that. You know, I'll try anything. I've really come out of my shell, I have to say, in the during this whole, I don't even like saying the word, but the last year or so, really come out of my shell, met so many wonderful people. And you know what? You really do have to surround yourself with incredible people. And I'm blessed to have that. Like Gwenno is on here, Donal is on, James, Joan is on as well. So like, and I've been on lots of networking calls with those guys and everyone else here, Eamon, James, and, you know, and it's just incredible. It's a blessing. It's not to be taken for granted, you know, and we really do help each other when we participate and share our stories, because there's something that, you know, when someone shares a story, you will always see something in that for yourself, because we're all the same, really. Do you know what I mean? And it's really important to share yourself because other people can see something in it for themselves. That's why I'm sharing my story. I am going to be writing a book about my whole story. It might take me a few years to write. But I will. I am going to write it. But I do have a ghostwriter. I had a conversation with a ghostwriter because that's the way I'm going to do this. But when I did have a meeting with her, I couldn't see the ending in the book. And that man who raped me, I had a conversation with you, Colin, a while ago. But I've since spoken to the guards. And I've decided to make a statement. And I've had a couple of conversations with the guards. So I'm going to write a statement, and you know what? I want my power back, and I think that's where I'll get my closure. Because that man done some terrible things, terrible things. He's about 70 years of age now at the moment. I don't know if he's alive or dead, but that's what I've decided. So it will take a couple of years to go to court, but that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I feel that's something that I have to do, and it's not to get one back on him or anything like that. It's for my own personal justice, having my power back, and that's really what it's all about. So that's what's next.
My goodness, we wish you well. Again, the heart emojis all over the cafe for that. You're a big, brave woman for such a little brave woman.
Watch out.
Watch out and don't mess with Johann Callaghan. I think one of the many things that have impressed me about Johann. I met Johann through said Pat Slattery over the years. Pat, a good friend of mine that I met here in the Midwest many years ago, and hugely influential character in my journey. And of course, Donna Kennedy, his partner. I wrote Treat and Johnny, having attended the same, not on the same day, but the same program that you did, Joanne. And good people, doing great work. But I tell you, the one thing that has really impressed me about you, Joanne, if I may, is that Donna challenged you to think about a topic, and then you went and researched it. And when you went and researched it, you began to live it, and you live and breathe this stuff. You're so passionate about it. You're not doing it to chase the almighty dollar. You're doing it because you believe in it.
Yeah,
and
sure.
And you have become it. You've become this sleep advocate. And my son gave me a Fitbit for Christmas a couple of years ago. Excuse me. And the only thing I use it for is to measure my sleep. That's it. I want.
Lois.
But no, honestly, I want 6.5 hours on the clock. If I've got 6.5 hours on the clock, I feel good. My sleep has been a bit distracted in recent times, and every time I have a bad night's sleep, I think of Johann Callaghan. She'd kill me. She'd kill me. Come here. Look, it has been strangely beautiful and joyful. So it's been beautiful and strangely beautiful. I should have said that differently. It's been joyful and strangely beautiful, all in one conversation. Thank you for that. I'm going to, if I may, I'm going to ask you 2 quick questions, and then I'm going to pass over to Princess Shelley, to apparently some people's favorite part of the show, including mine, because in the Princess Shelley slot, I get to hear what's been going on in the cafe amongst our lovely audience here. And thank you all for being here, and welcome some new people. Lovely to have you here this morning. If you don't mind, we go to Princess Shelley. One is, what are you taking with you from COVID that you found in COVID you're not letting go of?
Oh, my goodness. I've done so many one-to-ones over the last number of months. And it was something, to be honest, it's been something that I've been kind of shying away from, because I always had it that people just want to sell me something, or, but I see a different side of that now. People genuinely want to help you. Like Gweno there, where's Gweno? There she is, Gweno. Gweno is gorgeous. If you ever get to have a conversation with Gweno, she's a coach and a master speaking coach and all sorts of coaching. But we did a coaching call together. And a great tip that she gave me, if I can share this, Gweno, she gave me a fantastic tip, and I actually sleep with a teddy bear, right? And that's I connected with Gwen through this whole COVID, and she told me sleep with your teddy bear, and because it's your inner child, and it's all about, we all need love. We all need love, and you can give this to your inner child. We have to go back to our inner child a lot of the time, and you know what? It's great. I love. My daughter sleeps with her teddy bear as well. Sometimes we swap. Sometimes we have fights, and I put my lavender oil on it as well. So I do the aromatherapy. But yeah, over the COVID, met so many wonderful people. I love the whole Zoom thing. I do like to meet people in real life as well. I'm looking forward to that opening up again. But I have to say the convenience of the Zoom is just incredible as well. So.
Fantastic. That's just wonderful. Sleep with your teddy bear, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first.
Even if you're an adult.
Yeah, I got to invite Gweno in. Pop in there, unmute, and say hello, please.
Oh, don't worry. I can talk about anything, anywhere, anytime, any place. I'm the actual martini girl, I am. And I'm in my running kit because I'm going out for a run. I'm so sorry. But then I remembered and I wanted to come and support Joanne. So.
It is lovely to meet you. And she has referred to you as Gweno. Is that how we would normally say your name, or is that a...
Yeah, you can call me Gweno, or you can call me whatever you feel like saying. Doesn't matter. I respond to most things. Warrior woman is what I like.
I love it. I love it. Love it.
That's why I love Joanne. I love her.
The accent is decidedly Welsh, I think.
Oh, look at that now. I put this in there just so you could see me, my wonderful Celtic cousins. I love the Irish. I love the Scots. I love the Welsh. We won't talk about the rest of them. We know what they did to us.
There's a few of them in the room here.
Oh, oh. But they're nice. They're kind.
Oh, they are. And James Finnegan will remain nameless anyway, so it's fine. Come here. Listen, what do you think of this woman?
Oh, I love her to pieces. I really, really do. I do. And I love working with her. And I know we'll collaborate on something. We had a lovely Zoom conversation yesterday, and we're going to do something that will be mutually beneficial. Because as far as I'm concerned, we're in this life to help each other, you know. I absolutely adore her. She is just a tower of strength, and she must have felt so terribly lonely when she was going through all those horrible experiences when she was a child. And I just value our friendship. And I know that it's a Zoom, a virtual friendship, but I don't care, because I want to have her in my life from now on. So I can't say more than that, really.
Beautiful. Gweno, thank you for being here. Thank you for popping in. And
thank you for having me.
My pleasure indeed, our pleasure. Joanne, back to you. What do you want to say back to her? And then I have one quick question before we go to Shelley.
Oh, Gwenna, you're gorgeous. I absolutely, you're adorable. I love you. I am so blessed to have you in my life. And I really mean that from the heart. I really do. It's so great.
Thank you.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Gweno. Right, Joanne, last question before we go to Shelley. Please, 60-second answer. You meet a friend or somebody on Zoom or off Zoom who is struggling more than most in relation to what's going on the last 15 or 16 months. What would your one piece of advice be to somebody that you know is struggling or you suspect is struggling?
Love it. You know, the first thing that I say to people is get into a routine, okay? But you know something, get out and get sunshine. Even, I know we're living in Ireland here and well, we're in the summer now, but go out and get sunshine, especially first thing in the morning, because it resets this whole rhythm that this whole rhythm, the circadian rhythm, if you want to look up all the circadian rhythm. But we do live in rhythms and we're all human beings. So sunshine, you're getting your vitamin D. Vitamin D helps support your immune system and does so many other functions as well. Vitamin D has been shown to be in receptors in the brain involved in the sleep functions as well. So you're getting your sunshine, your vitamin D, you're resetting your circadian rhythm. So that's one of the things that I would say, get outside and get sunshine.
Beautiful. Apart from a good night's sleep, of course.
Well, that will help you sleep. That will help you sleep well. Resetting your circadian rhythm. Your sleep starts from the moment you wake up in the morning.
Fantastic. The other place I'm in, my cabin in the woods, as I call it, for the summer, but the rest of the year I live beside this tree. It's called the caw tree. It's got this merger of crows. Shocking phrase, but it's a merger of crows in it. And what I really admire about them is, as soon as it gets dark, nothing. They just live life completely and beautifully, naturally. As soon as it gets dark, and as soon as it gets bright, they're up and at it. And we don't live like that. We burn the candle at both ends and in the middle. Johann Callaghan, it's been thoroughly beautiful having you here in the Coffee at 11 show today. Thank you for being here. Don't go anywhere. Princess Shelley, what's been going on in the cafe?
So many lovely comments. Wow, Joanne, you have told a story that has prevented me from using kind of the bottom 75% of my lungs. I feel like I can't breathe deeply again for a little while. I need to either get some fresh air or have a cry or eat a cake or something. I'm here and I'm kind of breathing shallowly and I've just got this thing in my lungs. You have the most, not just the story, Joanne, not just the story, but your recollection of it. You make such an awful story just so stunningly beautiful with your experience of it. You're unbelievable. And I like to just share a sentence before I kick off the comments, but I'll have to kick it to the corner, otherwise I'll lose the plot and I'll be messaging Katrina later asking her to please edit out my tears and that, please. So yeah, thank you for your recollection is how you could recall a story so dark with so much light is it's a gift. It's a superpower you have, I believe, Joanne. It really is a superpower, and thank you for sharing it with our cafe. Ger White kicked us off. Ger, actually turned her camera off at one stage. She said, I have to turn my camera off. I'm getting very upset. She was so moved, so emotionally moved by your story. But before it went there, you had said how as in your early years around your parents, and she said, we need love and that comfort blanket, as you had said, and she was sorry that you didn't have that when you needed it, and it was sad for her that there's so much pain in the world, and that was your lived experience, and that was Ger kicking us off. And that's always what makes the cafe always such a beautiful place to be as we bring a week round to an end, is the empathy that's in the cafe, Joanne, that's there. Dee Keogh, who is a regular in the cafe at this stage, always shares just wonderful words with us. Dee said, what an incredible and resilient young adult you were, when you were so early going into school like that, and the teachers knew what was going on, and you were telling us about the towels and everything else. Dee said that you were just so incredible and resilient, and you were telling us about those biology results in your mocks and everything, and that you were so pragmatic and clear-minded and focused. I'd have had a fog. I'd have just been lost in a fog of confusion, and you not only do you still recount it so clearly, it sounds like you had such clarity of mind even then. Sarah Ward says, you're so strong to get through all that. Well done. And Ger came back in and said, your resilience is empowering. So she was feeling lifted. You were talking there about raising your vibration, and you were taught how to raise your vibration. You're here raising our vibration today, Joanne.
Brilliant.
Dee was saying then, Dee popped in and said, we've so much to answer for as a society. She said, well done for never giving up. When you were talking about how you had been let down originally at the start. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't agree with you more there, Dee. I could feel the kind of little bit of resentment building up that she hadn't, that was when we were talking about the job. You had gone in and it was all looking good. And then the day after, when you'd said something about your son's birthday, and next thing it was an entirely different transaction, and you suddenly had a different relationship with this person, and he finished you up. And that was when Dee popped that in, that we've so and
his loss
his loss and I could feel, I was so cross. I was like, how very dare he had this powerhouse of a woman and something so small. And I saw Dee's face. I'm so used to looking at everybody now and feeling the feels with everybody. Dee popped that in, that we've so much to answer for, and well done for never giving up. Because you said, right, you took a dip initially, you locked yourself again, and your mum went out and rallied for you again. It's all, I thought to myself, she, while she had her own struggles, when she could, she went out there and she was your cheerleader, So I loved that. I can see the applause. And Ger White said, I agree, Dee. That was when Dee had said about society has so much to answer for. And Tim Kelly said, absolutely, Dee. And Dee had said, Joanne, you're just remarkable. Eamon Smith, who is our head of guest services, we've met him at the head of the show. Eamon said, Joanne, I had the honour to hear your story during your talk a couple of years back, but it's still, to this day, leaves me speechless. Your bravery, courage and determination. The world is just a better place for you, and indeed for your journey. So great comment, Eamon, and delighted to have shared it. It was around that stage then when Ger had to turn off her camera. She said, God bless your strength, she said. And when I saw that she'd had to turn off the camera, I was thinking, I hope Ger's okay. And then she came back on again, pulled herself together. Around the same time, Katrina was wiping tears and snot bubbles at the same time. So we all went there. She's nodding away. Feel free to edit that out if you like, Trina. You're the boss. So yeah, and then Gweno popped in a comment, and we've got to meet her since. Another powerhouse, original Martini girl. She said, we all you raised us all up as well, Gweno. She said, I love and I honor you, and I'm so very proud to have you in my life. Isn't that lovely, Joanne?
Gorgeous. Oh,
Joan Muldrew, it's lovely to have you in the cafe, Joan. Thank you for joining us today. Joanne said, no words at the moment, and 3 heart emojis. And that's when you brought us to Megan and what had happened. And, you know, you have this storytelling ability, and it's not a story, it's your life. It's your journey telling ability that we were all kind of bumping along and, oh, she was pregnant and this, that and the other. And then on the duty, you know, you just brought it screeching to a halt. If there was sound effects on the story, there would have been the screeching of brakes. And everybody was all little gentle smiles in the cafe. And then everybody just fell, you know. And that was when Joan popped in with that comment, no words and 3 heart emojis. And everybody's hands went up to their face, and just the body language in the cafe totally changed. Totally. It said, bless your ability to dig so deep down under everything and find the grace hiding in your journey. And I thought that, Joanne, you know, grace is such a perfect word that Eamon chose there for how you recall everything. You've this grace and dignity and clarity, just an absolute lady around what you're doing. And so thank you very much for that. Thank you. DPO said, I think you are incredible. You're an incredible soul, and you're living from an extremely deep realm that knows pain. And as a result, you can meet that depth in those that you meet. Isn't that a lovely comment? Would you like to respond to that today, Joanne?
You know what? You're absolutely so true, because, you know, we all suffer so much and unnecessarily as well. And when we can see each other's pain and we can share that, again, we can see ourselves in each other, you know, and it's really important that we support each other, and we're not alone, you know, and we can help each other. So thank you for that. It's just so wonderful. They're all wonderful comments. They really, I'm very humbled, actually.
They are, aren't they? They're really, really nice. I'm scrolling down because there's a few more comes in, you see, Joanne. As I'm reading, I haven't seen this. Where am I up to? So then you mentioned about that heart coherence and how, and I found it so interesting. It's something that I've become a little bit more aware of a little bit lately about this, that our heart has its like a conscience, if you like, and it can drive the brain. And Eamon, this is like Eamon's real bailiwick, you know, and I saw him, he was getting all excited and putting thumbs up to the camera when you started talking about this. And next thing you know, of course, Eamon is just the master at finding links, and he's popped it in there, the Heart Math Institute. You mentioned it, Joanne. The Heart's Intuitive Intelligence, a path to personal, social and global coherence. So the link is there for that, as well as all your other links, Joanne, that they've popped in, your link, your Facebook and all that, those ones. Eamon has popped those in, your Facebook, how to get a good night's sleep.com, your LinkedIn and all that. So do follow those there, which Eamon has kindly popped in. Dee says, we're in the presence of great grace and greatness in its essence. And everyone's agreeing. Well done, Dee. Yeah, definitely, Dee. You're so right, Dee. So many lovely comments. Donal O'Leary then, just before we bring it to a halt, Donal O'Leary says, you have so beautifully risen above so much. You have transformed base metal into pure gold. So much. Mother wanted to leave for England. Mother expanded skirt. In short, a chaotic childhood, home and life, resulting in growing up too fast. You are an inspiration, Joanne. Oh, isn't that lovely?
Oh, Donal, thank you so much. And Donal's been on my journey quite a lot as well. And I really admire Donal and who he is as well for the world. And it's just incredible to have amazing people like that around me. Yeah.
Isn't
Fantastic.
it? It's a real wealth, Joanne, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you said it. Yeah, wealth. Absolutely. I mean, it's just priceless.
So thank you for that comment, Donal, and we're truly blessed and honoured to have you here in the cafe with us. You always share such lovely comments. It's a pleasure to be able to voice them. So thank you for that. Then Gweno came in. It was after Donal had popped that comment in. Gweno came in and Kat said, our kind of lady is Gweno, because she was all excited and energetic. I could see that everybody was getting very excited at meeting Gweno. So Tim had got your booklet off your website. He's done
the free gift, the free ebook. Yeah.
Got that, so he said thanks for that. And Katrina was saying when Colm said that her Fitbit, she uses it to track the sleep too, and I'm the same. First thing I do is check the deep sleep. If I've over 40 minutes in the deep section, I think this is going to be a good day. Today it's only 5, so we'll see how we go. So there we go, and all the links again. And Dee, then that sounds like a good piece for the back of your book or the forward. So Dee, do you want to tell us which bit sounds like a good piece if you want it, just before we have back to Colm? What is it you think she should have for the forward of the book, Dee?
First of all, you're incredible.
Thank you, Dee.
I'll be connecting with you very soon. What Donald said, I think, is just powerful. I think it would make, I just saw the book and I saw what Donald said, because that would make me read the book. The way he put the piece in, I just thought, that's done for you already. So anyway.
Thanks, Donald. You can be my editor, okay?
I just think that would make me pick it up off the shelf and read it. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm after getting passive love from the love between Gwenno and Joanne. Do you know the way you get passive smoking? I'm after getting passive. I felt included in it. So passive love all round. So thank you so much. It's just been incredible.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you. I'm so glad the way she, you know, passive love. And I thought, oh yeah, passive love. And she was like, you know, like passive smoke. And I was like, oh, I do know. Yeah, you just made it all the more. And you know, isn't that just a beautiful way of putting it? Thank you, Dee. I'm going to totally take that passive love. And I agree with you. I couldn't agree more. Guys, you make this the nice place to be. Yes, the wonderful guests that Colm actually brings to the cafe each Friday. We're very blessed that he brings these wonderful guests and has such a rich chat with them. But it's you that rock up each week and pop your comments in, and then somehow I won the lottery that I get to share it, and then it goes out. I actually have it here. Last week's went out to 18,058,979 potential people could be accessing it. So when yours goes out on Sunday week, Joanne, I hope that people hear it, because you are just a beacon of light, and you've been an absolute pleasure to have on the Coffee 11 show. Before we wrap up today, I'm only delighted to hang back to Colm O'Brien, your wonderful host, and thank you everybody for your great comments. Thank you very much.
And Princess Shelley says she thinks she won the lottery. How do you think I feel? This is just it's just beautiful. I mean, this is COVID born. This mad idea that has become the Coffee 11 show, and to think it's gone out to 18 million potential people. I mean, we're blessed to be able to share it out amongst all these platforms and groups all around the world, and it's lovely to just see different people from all parts of the globe commenting on LinkedIn or on Facebook and saying thanks for that, thumbs up, etc. So no idea who's going to touch, but we're not in charge of that, Joanne. We're just in charge of turning up and having the conversation. I was smiling because we spoke earlier, Joanne, about you being on Oprah, and then DQ came in and I said, there's the two women. Now there's the Irish couch that there's the Oprah show that needs to happen, right? The two wands in there giving it socks. That'd be fantastic. By the way, James Finnegan, you are an honorary Celt, absolutely through and through. The ovarian lottery had you, as we said before, Warren Buffett speaks about the ovarian lottery, and you happen to be born there, but you're now here. It's wonderful. You're very welcome, and always will be. Great friend to the show.
Joanne, thanks for your storytelling ability as well, and just for the journey. And it's just miraculous, really. It's been wonderful. Sad but wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? What's your relationship with God these days?
Oh, I love, what, God is everywhere. God is in me. God is everywhere. And that film that you asked me to look at, My Octopus Teacher, oh my God, that so resonated with me. That's so, because you know what? We're so busy taking in information from our exterior world and always analysing that and judging that. But you know what? We're all so busy and so fast, and we're always on the go. We really need to take time to slow down and be still and listen to ourselves. And do you know what I mean? And that's what's really important. And that whole nature thing, we get that in nature. It slows us right down, That's so important. That's where we get our power from. It's incredible. It's just so incredible. I mean, even when you get a moment of that, that realization of how powerful we all are as human beings, and everything is provided for us. But my relationship with God is incredible now. It's absolutely incredible. I really get it. I really get it. Some things I still have to figure out, but when you just sit with it and just don't struggle with it, don't resist it, things are happening. There's always something, like always ask yourself, what's the lesson in this here, or what can I learn from this situation, rather than it being, something, difficult or hard or whatever. There's always something to
Yeah.
And you know what? Without difficulties, you know, life would be a piece of piss, and there would be no challenge. We wouldn't be growing stronger, you know. So it's it just all makes sense, you know.
It's interesting to see you do that full 180 from that very dark moment. You know, you said in that moment my relationship with God changed, and you know, so. But you found grace. I loved the way that Shelley picked up on Eamon's use of that word and the
Beautiful.
timing of that word. Yeah. Donal, would you oblige and pop into the conversation?
Sure. I feel that Joanne is another great example of how struggle and strife can open us up as opposed to closing us down. Those who have suffered much are different. And in this case, different in the best possible way. And I'll finish by saying that it's rare in my life to remember the first time I met someone. You know, the moment you met someone for the first time. I remember the circumstances, the place, and the moment I first met Johann Callaghan. It was at a big table at a Pat Slattery event. And maybe, was it 5 or 6 years ago? 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it is. And why do I remember that? I remember it not because of how she was dressed, or what she said, or anything at all. I remember meeting a woman who clearly was open to accepting you as you were. No question of background or history or qualifications. What is your subject or your forte or your expertise? No hint of looking for a business card or contact. Just total open acceptance. Do I need to say any more?
James Finnegan, can you speak?
A little like yourself, Colin. It's rarely I'm caught for something to say, and I am today. I don't know. There's something about season 4. All the previous seasons have been fantastic stories and fascinating stories, and people that have come back from tragedy and disaster and bad luck. But Joanne's story today, I mean, I had to thank goodness I was on silent, because it's embarrassing to be a blubbing idiot here in Tralee, and people outside the door thinking, what the hell are you doing in there? And you know, I'm not crying, you're crying, kind of. Oh, Joanne, my darling, if you were here and if we were allowed, you'd get a big hug.
Oh, I love hugs.
Be careful what you ask for, because when I come out of this cocoon, there's going to be a big hugging butterfly flying around the place.
I love it. Love it. Thanks, James.
But come here, it's my absolute pleasure every week to turn up and have a chat with somebody over a cup of coffee. I mean, how good can life get? But I get to do so with this wonderful team. I mean, Princess Shelley, like, in fairness, big heart emojis, ladies and gentlemen. Let's light the screen up with heart emoji. I start. There you go. And of course, Princess Shelley, Michelle Barry, my good friend, for producing today's show. Eamon Smith, hashtag Kerry Guru, for keeping us safe and sound, and that beautiful mindful moment that pulls us into the space every week. Tim Kelly for that awful Friday joke, which is getting worse. Well done, you. And it just allows the show appear like it's even better than it actually is because of that. So thank you for that, Tim Kelly. Katrina O'Brien, of course, patiently sitting in the background, keeping an eye on everything. Thank you for that. Yeah, the real boss. And she then makes this beautiful, what she does is she comes into the show every Friday, very generously gives of her time, and watches and listens, and she's making notes as to how she can craft the edit and in time she'll be going for the awards for the best editor on the planet. So it's a real pleasure working with this beautiful team. Of course, the audience that comes in every week, we've got loads of regulars come in every week, and then new people come in based on the guest that's coming here. You're all very welcome back, by the way, every Friday here at 11, the Coffee 11 show, same link every week, just a different guest, different conversation, but always rich, and we're very blessed. I want to thank Wigwam for making this happen, and of course the Limerick Post for supporting us in season 4 of the Coffee 11 show. Finally, the last word goes back to our very special guest this morning, Johann Callaghan. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here on the Coffee 11 show. Namaste.
It's been incredible, Colm. It really is. I'm going to leave you with a joke, if I can. What do you call a sleepwalking nun? A Roman Catholic.
Ooh,
I
Tim Kelly worthy. That is.
Isn't that brilliant? Now, brilliant. I have to have jokes in there because sleep is such a serious topic. But listen, I just want to thank everybody. You've an incredible team, Colm, honest, and Michelle. Oh my God, to go through all that summary and comments is just incredible. I really admire and honor you. And I just want to leave you all with this. I believe in magic. And I believe every single one of us has magic inside us. We just don't know it. And all you have to do to access that magic is believe in yourself. Remember who you are. Take care of yourself. Like really know what's important to you. Love yourself. Get a good night of sleep. And then you'll be able to access this magic. Step into your power. You'll be empowered to do whatever it is that you want in your life. So thank you. God bless. And thank you, everybody.